Wyoming Republican Senator John Barrasso is on the committee and was in that briefing. He is joining me this morning. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me the crux of this briefing. What can you tell us about it?
Well, what we're seeing is that there is the greatest humanitarian crisis right now since World War II. We're seeing it in Syria, where Assad has basically killed about 250,000 of his people. You have this mass exodus of refugees trying to find safety and security elsewhere. And it certainly appears to me that the president and the administration is now playing catch-up, and it's Vladimir Putin who is dictating American foreign policy. He, I think, was a very much surprise move to the administration when he moved troops and air power right there into Syria, and he's there to prop up Bashar Assad. And, you know, President Obama said Assad must go. So there is clearly a conflict.
All right, so, for example, there's an article in the Washington Post that says the president is getting kind of recommendations to put special forces troops on the ground in Syria. What can you tell us about that? I mean, would you support something like this?
Well, I support a no-fly zone. I support setting up an area within Syria to protect individuals, so some of these refugees can go to that location for security and for aid. You know, what you see is that aid workers can't go to into Syria because they'll be killed. So others are leaving, the citizens are leaving the country of Syria to go to find the aid elsewhere, which is bringing out this incredible exodus of individuals. But Russia is they're the ones in the driver's seat right now. They say they're there to fight ISIS, but that's not what they're doing. They seem to be propping up Assad.
Would you support then closer U.S. involvement, troops on the ground, and even a no-fly zone would include probably a lot more American physical presence around the area?
Well, that's the discussion point today, and that's the point of the Washington Post front page story about the discussions that have been having between the White House, the State Department, and the Department of Defense. I think that what we're seeing is that Russia is defining what the United States is doing. We have not had a well-defined policy on Syria under this administration. We haven't seen leadership coming out of the White House on this. I think that the White House itself is divided on what to do, and as that article says, the president himself is conflicted because he made a number of promises. He was going to get out of Afghanistan, out of Iraq. Those issues have left certainly a void in Iraq, which brought in ISIS. In Afghanistan, he's now changed his tune to say, no, we're going to leave people there now and maybe beyond when he leaves the White House. So I think the president has to make a firm decision about what his position is rather than just react to what Vladimir Putin is doing on a daily basis. Vladimir Putin can smell opportunities, and that's where he goes.
Senator Barrasso, thank you very much for being with me. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.